What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Day1Radio right here on LivehiphopDaily. I'm one of your hosts, Maurice Garland. Got my man Brandon Peters in the building with me. What's going on, man?
What's happening, bro? How was your holiday?
It was very relaxing, man. Like, I think this might have been the most low-key Thanksgiving holiday I've ever had. Like, did not make a big deal out of it. You know, went to friend's house, went to see grandma, and that was about it. You know, this how much food I did not come back with. You know, usually, that Thanksgiving, you be eating up those leftovers for days. I think I was done with all my leftovers by Saturday night, if that. Man. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't do nothing.
I didn't come back with nothing. I would have froze something, brought it back with me on the plane. I didn't come back with nothing. Was mad about it the next day. Like, damn, I should have brought some, whatever. But, you know, this is the first Thanksgiving after my grandmother passed.
Right.
So all the cousins and uncles and aunts or whatever got together, but the cousins like kind of ran the show. So that was pretty dope. Like, we cooked most of the main stuff and all of that. So it was cool. We had one little dispute, but it's a black family. You know what I mean? It happens. But other than that, it was all good, man. So I can't complain, man. It was dope. It was real dope. But yeah, before you got here, and I know you haven't seen it either, and Latif, our guest for the day, hasn't seen it either, but make sure y'all go and see Queen and Slim. I done seen a lot of people posting opinions that ain't even seen the damn movie yet. So make sure that y'all go out there and support a black woman director and a black woman writer doing major
dope
things in Hollywood, man. But
I did see a dope-ass movie. Ain't nothing black about it, though. You know what I'm saying? But I went to go see that movie Parasite. Y'all heard about that movie?
Heard about it.
The Korean flick.
What is it about?
It's about class. It's like it's a dope ass movie. Like, it's a lot to say, so I can't go. Oh, it's about this and this, but it's pretty much about classism. It's like I said, it ain't nothing black about it. It's a Korean film, but it's a trip though. Like, you see a lot of blackness in those Korean characters. You know what I'm saying? Like that were the central role characters. You're like, damn, like, I can really relate to that and how they're getting down right now. You know what I'm saying?
Was it subtitles or I could just
watch? Your subtitles. Yeah, so
you
can follow
do good with subtitle movies, man. I do not do good with subtitle movies. I might have to wait until I'm just chilling at the crib one day.
But now the language ain't crazy, cause like I said, like they speak like even the subtitles are like, oh shit, they talk like that for real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're like, bitch, what? Come on now, sis. You know what I'm saying?
Hilarious. You got Kimora Lee up in that joint. Right. But yeah, man, let's get into the show, man. We appreciate y'all listening, of course. Make sure you follow us on Day1Radio. That's DIY, the number one, and radio. But we got one of our folks, man, Atlanta, in the building. Yes, Latif Rashad, man. We going to get into the fashion game on this episode. And I had worked with Latif on some stuff at the 9 to 5 a few months ago, and I like this dude's energy. And then I saw the collection that's dropping really, really soon, and I was like, okay, this is because you had done the End Rape Culture shirts, which we'll get into later, but this one is, to me, taking it to the next level as far as bringing social awareness and social commentary to fashion, which is something we really haven't seen outside of a couple brands since the 90s. You know what I mean? So we're going to get into it, man. Wisdom Fashion House.
Yes,
in the building, man. Yeah. How you doing, bro?
Thankful to be here. Thank y'all for bringing me on here.
No doubt.
Honored. Yeah, man.
And I don't want to be rude. How was your holiday?
Mine was cool. Like how y'all said, it was kind of dull in a way. I say dull in a way. It wasn't, you know how when you was a kid, with so much hype around Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatever. It's I don't know. I wouldn't say it's dull, but it's like a slow thing.
I think it's because we all getting grown. And then too is like, when you get grown and you kind of get to an age where it's like, damn, I'm kind of responsible for part of this Thanksgiving.
Right.
Oh shit, Thanksgiving expensive. God damn.
That's a valid point. Oh, and that makes sense because the generations change.
Right.
What our parents had traditions for, we grow into it, and we get bored. I think we want to change stuff up. So I went to Mississippi though.
What part?
What was that? Itabena. Itabina, it's nothing
Yeah.
over there.
What is that close to?
It's my girlfriend, Amina. She that's her family. That's where her dad's side is from. So we got a history lesson. We got to see some cotton fields.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw the picture you posted on your IG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was dope. The food was crazy.
I believe it.
Crazy.
Yeah, my wife is from Mississippi, and it's like every time we go out there, it's like her aunt does a mandatory fish fry, and I'm like, bro, this is the best fried fish I've ever tasted in my life.
They made some dressing, but this dressing, I was like, and we couldn't even take nothing to go because it was like all gone.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. And we expected it to. It's like it's about to be busted.
Yeah.
So we had a that was fun for me. We had a good time.
That's
Spend
what's up.
time with the family, all that.
That's what's up, man. So now you was raised here, but you was actually born in New York, right?
Yeah, I was born in Brooklyn. Coney Island, I think I was raised in for, up to 4 years old, so not really raised. And then we moved to, we lived in Flatbush, I believe. And then we moved when my dad passed. And then we came to Atlanta, Stone Mountain. And I remember everything up until literally driving up into Atlanta. I don't remember, but everything like as soon as I got here, my memory is vivid. I remember the ride home, the ride here, to the bus ride to school, to first meeting, those Georgians, and like, yo, why these people talk like this? And like my mom was like try to understand and fit in, like whatever. But I remember all that so vividly. But Atlanta's my home now. Stone Mountain for how long? 20 plus years? 20 years exactly. I'm 25.
Yeah.
So I've been over there for 20 years. Went to Redan High School. So yeah, and started Wisdom in the 10th grade.
Now talk about that. Like, how did you get into, like, all of us, most of us in high school that want to be fresher in the clothes.
Yeah.
But how did you actually take it to the next level of actually starting a line in high school?
First we used to buy and sell Jordans.
Yeah.
Nikes, Jordans, Bape, I don't know, like Supreme, Stussy. We used to buy it and sell it. And we was hype beasts for it. It's like we actually just loved the clothing, the design, the shoe, whatever. So we used to just do that a lot. I used to love that. I used to draw the shoes. Like I was a full-on fanatic.
Yeah.
And then I kind of figured, I think it was the time my mom stopped giving me money. I was like, I gotta make my. It's like as a man, you grow up, you like, I need to learn how to make my own money.
Right.
And I was appreciative of those moments that she would give me. Like, I'm not giving you nothing. Now I realized, I'm making how much off these shoes? Okay, I'm gonna invest that. I'm gonna hold it on that for a minute, and then I'm gonna just figure something out. And then out of nowhere, Wisdom came to me after looking at like hundreds of brands. Like I said, Stussy and all those brands. That's where my focus was. I was like, oh, kids, I know how much I love these clothes. I know that if I come up with my own design and I stick within that, like, and I understand design and streetwear and fashion, I could come up with something way better than any of these brands. So that's what I did. I started honing in on that and designed the brand. I went half of my mom on like the first 24 tees, sold out within like 4 days of high school. I was like, oh, this is real. Like, people actually support just some stuff I drew in the garage, and they're buying it at $20, at a markup price. And I did it. And then I elevated my mom. I told my mom I want to be able to flip my own money. So I said, I'm going to take what I made off profits, gave her what she put in, and then I just kept going. And then one of my friends, Cheerio, Nate, that worked up here, he went half of me from that point on. And then we just grew from there. I eventually branched off, and I just kept going.
That's dope. That's dope. And it's like, I could say, like, I was there to witness some of that, because we were just talking off airs. Like, I went to Redan too, and I actually met you for the first time when I came back to do a career day. And it's like, I remember that fire-ass bag that you had that I did not jump on. But I do remember, like, a lot of, the other teens that were there, they was all, like, really, like, vouching for it. Like, yo, man, you shit,
Which
man.
is, like, incredible.
Do you know Wisdom? Do you know Wisdom? That shit, Wisdom need to be a career day. Shit, man. He make his own money already. I was like, damn, all right.
Yeah, and I don't be, like, it blows my mind looking back. I'm like, that was some crazy support. Like, everybody at Redan, plus teachers supporting me. Even the ones that suspended me, like Miss Boger, She supported me like a mother almost. Like it's almost because I kept being in her office so much.
Yeah.
She got to know you.
She knew me, so after I started doing better, she was like, I'm really behind this kid. So I always remember her for what she gave me. And then just the support, like it was crazy.
Yeah, I don't really think, there's always a rap on black folks not supporting each other and this and that. But I'm telling you, like, I feel like if you really talk to people, you see that there are a lot of folks who support, especially like students. Like I was at Brown Middle School a few weeks ago, and we was just talking about music, talking about the whole Sprite Way thing and all of that stuff. And they was like, oh, nah, he ain't here today. But this one dude in our class, you got to hear his music, and was like, go on YouTube. They went on YouTube, listening to the song. Nah, that ain't the one. That ain't the one. Go to this one. That's the one. You know what I mean? And he's not even there. Yeah. So that's real support. You know what I mean? I don't believe that that's just happening in classrooms and schools in Atlanta. I feel like that's just across the board. We just don't see it because we're too busy on social media.
It's because we told a perspective. If we constantly told that we don't support each other, that's what you think. But in reality,
exactly.
Like you said, my nephew, he just left Reading High School. His name is Dylan, but he go by Finesse Kid. They support. You see how they put out their phone and said look him up. That's how they treat him up there. Yeah. And it's like love, and so coming from the same background I came from, he's getting that pedestal as well. Yeah. So it's like, acknowledge that. But we do get force fed like that perspective. Yeah, it's not true. Yes,
exactly. Yeah. What do you remember? What that first shirt was? What the design was?
Yeah, I did my first Wisdom logo was like inspired by Stussy. Okay. So it was like graffiti. All right. So I just put that on the shirt, and it's so crazy because in my opinion, that was not my best graphic, but the support just in that logo was like, it was crazy. Because when I look back, I'm like, I need to touch up that logo, make it look a little better if I decide to ever re-release it or something. But the fact that people supported it at that early stage was like, it was crazy.
Why the name Wisdom? You know what I'm saying?
Why did I choose Wisdom? I had a whole book of like names. I think over like 50 names. It was just random stuff, dope and ill and anything I came up with, I just wrote it down. Wisdom was like, it had substance. It was strong, like supreme. It's like it's just one word that embodies so much. Wisdom. It speaks profoundly just when you say it. So I was like, I want something that's just strong. Like it really, it stands alone. It's a common used word, and it can be held in whatever regard I want to do and put it in. And I know that I can't really say I intentionally did this, but just by naming it that and embodying that, I started to, learn more of that in life. I started to acquire more wisdom. And I noticed that because every moment I'm in, I'm like, what is my business model? It's called wisdom. So maybe every other relationship in my life, I should be treating as I'm treating a business. So I started honing in on every L I took or every bad situation I was in, and I was like, okay, what is the lesson? Right. So not an average kid, compared to my peers, because I'm like trying to learn every time anything happened to whatever we were doing, going to parties, getting in trouble, whatever. I'm like, okay, why did that happen? So it helped me change my
analyzing
patterns. Yeah. And then it also made me like the conscious friend in the group. It's like, do that.
He's the Sharif.
And then my friends like, bro, okay.
We're tropical people.
Dropping knowledge.
Yeah. As a kid, it's like, okay, bro, whatever. We all the same age, but it was definitely like helpful though.
Nah, I feel I was definitely that person in the crew a lot of the time, for sure.
That's a fact.
For you, fashion, like once, and I'm sure a million times more now than you knew back then. But what was some of like the outlets or some of the game that you got starting out? Because it's one of them games where like nobody's gonna teach you where to get a manufacturer, where to get, you know what I mean? Right. Nobody's gonna teach you. It's really trial and error all day.
So you said it. It's trial and error. I Googled King Screen. That was the first company I went to. Yeah. They were out in Metropolitan Parkway. Yeah. All those buildings. Yeah. So I used to literally take the bus Uber and then walk in there. Like I used to have to throw my bag over that gate and hop that gate and then go talk to the dudes in there and get my stuff done. Then I realized, they taxing. So I had to figure that part out. I found this dude, and this is he's a printing legend in Atlanta, physics. Somebody introduced me to him. I don't remember who introduced me to him, but he literally had the print price at like a quarter of the price every other company was doing it at. So I kept going to him. We had a lot of falling outs because it's like he be on his own time in his own world. So it's really difficult to get your stuff done on time. But
fast, quick, and cheap don't all go together.
It's like a culture thing in Atlanta. Everyone who goes to physics kind of know you're gonna take a little bit of an L dealing with him when you come into time, but he's gonna get that work done. He's gonna get a good product, and it's gonna be cheap. So
Can't rush genius.
that's how you gotta. You just gotta charge it to the game with physics. I learned to just I got it. I figured it out.
That's wild. At what stage did you get a mentor in this game?
I had one mentor in the 12th grade that I didn't really ask for in a way. He kind of just came aboard and was like, I want to help you. So I started learning from him. And I guess the reason I don't remember taking any lessons from him. I got really peeled back and think. I remember he was showing me like things he was showing me how to purchase venues in a way, but homes. He was like, do a party out of this house. But my only thing with him, it was like, since I was young and we was kind of wild, ignorant, and just goofy kids, he would try to relate to us too much. So it's hard to gain
take him seriously.
I was smarter than that, so I was like, he's just trying to be like us. And not intentionally being an asshole to him and disrespectful to him, but just knowing that in the back of my head, so it's hard to gain from him. And then I ran into Blue, 2016. Blue is a 2 Chainz stylist, and then he's his own seamstress, designer. He does a lot, man. Shout out to Blue. He taught me a lot of things. He introduced me to one of his friends, Lee. They worked on like Rockefeller, Sean John. They did manufacturing for all those 90s black-owned fashion houses. So I got to sit and learn from Lee. Throughout time, Blue got a venue. He let me do any events I wanted out of that venue. We just built like this uncle-nephew relationship. So I gained a lot from Blue, of course.
Dope. We were talking about social awareness earlier. What for you, like, what is it that made you want to put that type of stuff in your clothing lines? Because growing up, me and Marisa are the age where we saw the cross colors, we saw the Carl Kanai.
We saw the black college joint.
We saw the AACA, the still that came back. And I say few and far between. I don't know if you're familiar with Accomplice.
I heard Accomplice.
So the homies, Patrick and Mike, the brothers, they're from Colorado. They are heavy into that lane, not only with messages on the clothing, but also with how they manufacture and things of that nature. So like that's big. So there are brands out there that are doing it. But for you, especially being a younger cat, like what made you really want to put yourself on the line like that? Because a lot of times you can get typecast, you can get whatever, especially with like the rape culture joint, which got you a lot of looks. But that's a risk.
Both. It had both. I'm gonna talk about that too, but I think mainly it's because that's the person I am. Like I was that kid in class that's definitely gonna speak up and speak his mind. So the teacher did something that was wrong. I was a class clown. I was bad, very bad in like middle school, and then I kind of got better. But my thing was I always would acknowledge how a teacher treats me as well, and I'll say it. And then just in the classroom, if it's a question, I'm gonna teach. I'm gonna speak from like what I've learned in order to teach a different perspective.
Right.
So I always, since I was in high school, 9th grade, I was like that. So it's kind of something that comes natural to me. So with Wisdom, it's like I'm definitely gonna be that that Latif in this light, in this regard as well. So but the importance of it is like, my thing is alchemy. Like if you're gonna do art, it should in this time, if I'm a young black man, it should somehow progress us in a way, and then just progress everyone with free thought, and then just ways to look at things differently. So that's number one. And when it came to rape culture, this was something that a friend AC brought to my attention, and he brought to me kind of the physical side of it, and that's obviously rape. Him relating to the women in his life, his sisters, moms, aunts, and then beyond girlfriends he's had in the past. He's like, yo, I think that we need to start addressing how we speak and how the world treats women. And then me saying, define rape culture to me, and like being with him for like a week to try to soak that in. After a while, I'm starting to notice or gain my own perspective on it. So we went to Morehouse and Spelman, and people see the shirts and they start buying them. And Morehouse was the number one school that was like trying to get behind it. They were like, yo, what is this about? Like, we got some kids on campus that I need to get behind this. And so I was like, okay. I noticed that, like, okay, the activism in this is strong. And then beyond that, I'm trying to peel back. How can I tell this story? And then the first thing that came to mind is obviously the conversation. It was me being in the 9th grade up until 12th grade. The conversation we had about women with each other is horrible. Like it was bad. Like us growing up, and it was always me pulling back and saying, I want to be a part of that, but still acknowledging it, still trying to be a part of it just to be cool.
Right.
I noticed how that was like detrimental. And I was like, yo, it's really, you can't even really speak up without sounding like this lame dude. And I was like, so what does that mean? Like, how is that somehow that's been trickled into our culture to now be masculine? Now you have to be that way in order to even be acknowledged as that. Even some women at that age won't even talk to you if you're not dealing with them that way. So it's like, what is going on psychologically? So I started, that was number one. Let me start the conversation for young boys to just say, yo, that's not cool. How do we change how we speak? And relate to them. Like, this is how I speak. This is what I'm about promoting. I'm, at the time, 23. I'm 22, 23. So if I'm doing it and I got this brand and it's doing these amount of things, that's going to be influential to some kids in high school. It's like, oh, I want to go in that direction Latif went. And I know I feel the same way he does about that rape culture campaign, but now I feel more comfortable with saying it. The fact that he's already said it, it lets me step up and say, I'm with it too.
And that's key that you had the wisdom to like even ask, like, all right, man, so tell me what that means. Because I remember like when that term, like not even just the t-shirt, but just the idea of like in rape culture, like I remember first hearing it. And the first time I got told that term, like it was kind of used as a weapon against me. Cause I think I said something on Twitter, like, "Oh man, bitch bad." It was like just something goofy. Yeah, you're participating in rape culture. I'm like, yo, bro, like I ain't do nothing. Like, damn.
Yeah, but that's social media, hypersensitivity, and like
absolutely
opinion. I mean, people having opinions, but it's not saying their opinions aren't right. But it's it's like, I mean, when you think back to West Coast '90s rap. Yeah,
oh yeah,
like,
bro.
What was going on? Like what? It was sick, bro. It was like
it was crazy.
So that's what I'm saying. When did it slip into our culture? And I had to define that. And I guess so. I'm gonna bridge this to Black American, but before I jump into that, what really got me behind rape culture and saying I want to stand for women, stand for men, as this happened to as well, was hearing my sister's story, because I didn't know her story. Literally, and she's my 30-year-old sister. So I didn't know, she's been through that, and she literally told me probably 6 months after doing it. And doing this collection, rape culture, is like, the fact that it was easier for her to break that down to me, that was the change I was seeing. Like, oh, it's becoming, let's open that conversation so then that trauma is addressed. And this is how things in the world get healed, if you can start revealing the wound and not just pretending, if it's not this kind of code that everyone goes by and just brushes it under the rug, and it's now like, yo, it's an issue, that becomes, it starts to change. So that's the moments that really got, me into it, and then my sister being my blood. They both my blood sister, but my sister that has the same mom and father as me. She our father molested her, and I didn't know that until we both were older, way older.
Right.
So just knowing it was that close to home, all these stories started pulling back. I'm like, how frequent is this happening to everybody, every family, is crazy.
And it's twofold because it's difficult for people to talk to, and also people don't make it easier for folks to tell their stories from their reactions, from that. So that's dope because you probably the collection probably sparked conversation with people you'll probably never meet in your life.
Exactly, and people stop me and say that. One dude was like, my girlfriend loves your brand because of that message, and she's a victim, a survivor. So it was like, that's dope. Like the fact that it did that for her, that's what I want Wisdom to be.
So what was it also like once this message get out there, and this is the thing that happens sometimes, which can be a good thing if you're prepared for it, like you put a message out there and then, you might have just been doing it at the kindness of your heart, read one book on it, talked to 3 experts, and was like, this is important. And now all of a sudden folks are like, you the expert, bro. You got all the answers, and this happened in the news today. What do you think, Latif? You know what I'm saying? So like, did you get that as well? You know what I'm saying? Kind of people like giving you that pressure of, oh, you are the professor on this now, bro. You got a T-shirt about it.
Facts, right? And that's the reality of it. It's like, it wasn't necessarily. It was pressure in a way. I got pressure in a way of being a man doing it. That's what women would. Some women would tell me. Is what you can't do this. You're a man profiting off of rape culture. When to me it's like this is happening to everybody.
Absolutely.
When a 16-year-old boy gets wrongfully accused for a crime, let's say the Central Park 5, and he goes to prison, Corey Wise, or anybody, who knows what happens? You know what might have happened to that young boy, and it is happening probably right now. So it's like. And they come home, these people are humans. They come home and they have to just shut it out. Or sometimes their uncle did something, maybe their aunt did something. Boys go through the same thing. It's just women experience it on a definitely deeper level in a way. And I think it's mainly because of, and this is like, make sure I say the right thing. But it's like, just how we raise women, how we need to treat women, how we should respect women, and then them being the more sensitive sex in a way. And, not to be biased and say, women are more sensitive than men, because that's not true, but just how delicate women are. And then when this stuff happens to them, it's kind of like they get forced into it. When a young man, the stereotype is he can back out of it. He can say, I don't want to do this. Sometimes he can't. Sometimes it's not that scenario. And sometimes it is. And sometimes he might not. Maybe his mental is the one that's trapped, and he's thinking this is what's supposed to happen. So that's what rape culture is. I don't want to move from that when I'm dealing with it. When people say it just happens to women, I'm like, let's not move from what it really is. So that happened, and then just people did come to me in those regards, but I always reminded them that, this is a fashion collection mainly. And this is for me as a designer with my, freedom of speech to come up with something that sparks conversation.
Right.
Sure.
That's what I wanted to do. And further than that, us doing different things like going to shelters and, those things is something I wanted to do for myself and for just to give myself as a vessel. So. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I know you got some wins from the GQ thing or whatnot. What else did this spark on the positive side?
The GQ.
Yeah.
All right. So GQ happened when I was young. It was 2017. Yeah, and it was they hit me for the Rape Culture shirt to post it in most worn shirts for concerts. And it was like at first I'm like, this can't be real. I had to Google the person's name, and he was like the executive writer. I was like, oh, this is real. And then I sent them the shirts, and then they had a Snapchat story, so it wasn't like a magazine article. They just put me on their Snapchat, which is still a great accomplishment. And then it just reminded me to like keep going. Like, it could be a slow. That's 2017, started in 2010. It could have been a slow 7 years, and that one thing 7 years later, GQ is featuring me, and to me that was a big moment. It's like, that's awesome. It's valuable. If they want to post it, how much is the brand worth?
Right.
And that's what just keeps me going. It's like you never know, and just keep working at something and kind of blend it with your life experience.
Right.
And just keep learning from it, growing with it.
And
like that.
you and Wisdom also, y'all also wound up winning, like, I think Wish had like a contest with like local brands. Y'all ended up winning that, right?
Yeah, they did the Battle of the Brands.
Yeah.
And they gave us 5 days to put on like events, and we killed it. We was strategic with it, because we was like, okay, we need a pop-up shop date. We need a panel date for Rape Culture. We need a fashion show, so we kind of placed the right events in the right time. People came each event. Some days 5 people. No matter, we just kept going. The last day was a fashion show. Everybody was in there, and we was like, "Oh, this is real. Like, this is happening." And
did they end up carrying the brand in the store?
Yeah. So Julie, Malachi, Justin, so many people up there. They just show love. And they stuck to it. And it wasn't just like, we're going to put it, you won this year, so we'll put your brand in the store this season. They continually pick me up. Yeah.
Nah, that's awesome.
And it's like, it's a trip too, because like, this is how I kind of like got reintroduced to your stuff. Because like, when that news broke that y'all won, the word on the street was like, hey man, you heard about that Wish contest? 2 girls won it, bro. Like, these 2 girls, they got this clothing line called In Rape Culture, man. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, for real? You know what I'm saying? So I went up Google, I was like, nah, I don't think it was some girls that won it, dog. You know
it's because my sister runs the business with me.
Okay.
So it's like a family business. So I always make sure she's there, and she's always there. So they probably seen her first. Like, oh, she's it. Her presence is she can control the room for a minute.
For sure.
Yeah. Got you. You guys also did some stuff with 21 Savage too, didn't you?
Yeah. So Christina, which is I met her in high school at Red Bean Mountain. She used to manage rich kids. She just stayed tight for a long time. She calls me and says, Key, Key
Henderson.
Yeah, she's the what does Key do mainly?
Well, she runs the thing. Like, she manages 21 Piece. She also has to come. I forget the name now, but like they manage like Earth Gang, JID, and all them. You know what I'm saying? Since the 80s.
Yeah.
Since the 80s.
She a hustler, and so I have respect for Key and the fact that she had my name on some type of list to say 21's coming to Atlanta. We want to collab with you. It was like, okay. It's like that was another big moment. Cause I'm like, what? This type of stuff is real, like the GQ and the NIST. So it was dope. We ended up doing the show. I created the designs like overnight. I was so excited.
Wow.
And then I sold out first. So they already have their 21 tour merch. They got all types of shirts. I didn't even know. I was like, oh snap. They started pulling it. I put mine up. Like, oh, I'm about to kill it. And then they put theirs out. They got like 30 shirts. I'm like, Line started. My shirt sold out first. Like,
nice.
All the kids, I want that. What I used was simplicity. I just took the knife rose tattoo.
It's a knife.
Yeah. I used that. I just used that, and then it's a culture. To say it's a culture was kind of like, obviously it's a knife was a play on 21, but it's a culture was like, yeah, it is a culture. When people would ask me, why would you make rape a culture? Why would you say that? I'm like, oh, it's definitely a culture. It happens all over the world, countries everywhere. So that's what it was. It was like it is a culture.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was just a dope how it still was digestible just to that audience. And I think that's what those little kids, they seen in it because they was buying it.
All right, now let's fast forward, man. So you got one of the big reasons you here, December 7th.
Yeah.
Fashion show, Annex Bookstore right here in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Free show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you ain't got no excuse. Go on Eventbrite, get the tickets now.
Yeah. RSVP.
So Black American Merchant Class. What is the science behind this collection? And when I say it's a collection, you got multiple pieces, like you went in.
So this one, let's go to Rape Culture and just bridge it. So for me, in rape culture was like me trying to dissect when did this thing become a part of our culture.
Right.
Was like, this is predominantly in black culture. It's like, it's cool to disrespect women. And it's a reason to it. It's not just no overnight, this is how we wanted to respond. It's a reason to it, and it trickles down from slavery. So me was just dissecting that, just in my overthought thinking head. I started coming to conclusions and whatever, and really dissecting what that meant. And what I stuck with throughout just thinking about it was, wait a minute, as I'm bridging why rape culture relates to us, I'm like, wait, why can't I just talk about us?
Yeah.
Why is that? I put that on the table and was like, how would people feel if I make a collection about black history, black people, black imagery, and I addressed the elephant in the room. And I'm like, why is that like this space where it could be looked at as corny so quickly? Like, oh, he's a conscious deal with the dashiki.
Or a negative.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Negative. So
Because there's a reason that this term people of color is permeating so much in society now. Like, it's not cool to be black.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good to be black or something.
So that was like, I don't think that's, I want to change how that is. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I want to be like, I make a collection about us, and I break that barrier of like those, I guess, perspectives on it, and say, no, this is what I'm gonna say and define it as, and this is what people will see it as because the way I deliver it. So I jumped into it and was like, I'm doing it. I was inspired by Tremaine. I don't know if y'all know Tremaine. He where is he based out of? I want to say New York. He works closely with like Bistro, Brick.
Okay.
He works with Virgil. He works with so many people, but he did this one show called I'm not gonna remember. He used a casket, put a black American flag over it, and said, "Thank you, America, finally." And before even looking into it, it was like, "Thank you, America, finally." Casket with a black American flag on it. It sounds to me like a proper burial. Like, what did he represent? Was that saying, thank y'all for acknowledging this, or thank the world for now seeing this, and now we could not put it to rest, but elevate from it and move forward. But that was like, it was like, how can I peel that back further? Because he kind of leaped over it. I want to go into it.
Deep.
So I was like, okay, that inspired me to really go into it. And I was like, Black American Merchant Class. I don't know what had me thinking about merchant classes. I think I was thinking about the international trade before slavery, before anything.
Right.
Just what countries had in abundance and what they traded to survive. And I was like, what are we? Are we now a merchant class in this country? What do we have? What do we own? Who are we? And it was like, first it was a question. It was like, where do I go with this question? Then it became imagery. It's rare to find black imagery as positive and progressive in this country. It's very rare. Most of the time, any imagery we have, if it's on the mainstream and the world is digesting it, it's told from a white perspective, so it's not honest. It's not. We always gonna be like, oh, that's not how we feel. Oh, that's corny. Oh, that what? Like, we always gotta have something to rebuttal about it because it's not really us. So I was like, I'm gonna tell us. I'm gonna tell our perspective. And then I was like, how can I make these shirts? And I started with pieces. I started with history. Then I started with dissecting the history and turning it into shirts. So I came up with black, what did I call it? Universal Black Improvement Association tee. That's inspired by Marcus Garvey.
Right. Black Star Line.
Yeah. And he also had the Universal Negro Improvement Association. So
right.
I made it look like the USPS logo, and I put Universal Black because he came up with the Black Star Line, which was in 1907?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Almost 1920s, yeah.
He had a successful, full-on black shipping company. And 1971 is when USPS, DHL, all those companies, FedEx came up. So to see how America uses business models they've seen us do and then discredit us was like, in my eyes, that's the imagery I want to show. Let me show you what really happened. because throughout history, it's not like, I guess, far-fetched that we created so much in this world up until now still
damn near everything.
Yeah. Somehow we still keep missing that. Even we think we don't. When we look at computers or I don't know, this mic, we know where we could have made this. We just don't even fathom it for some reason. So I was like,
well, it goes back to what you were talking about earlier, and that if something is constantly put in your face and beating down your throat, then that you're going to accept that as reality. That's where the term perception is reality comes from. But no, I thought that was ill. You also did one from Tulsa.
So Black Wall Street was Tulsa, Oklahoma. Was that 19? That was 1919.
No, Black Star Line is 1919 for sure. So yeah. But yeah, early 1900s for sure. Yeah. I'm not good with
1920.
I forget people's birthdays. I definitely can't remember. Yeah.
So Black Wall Street was like obviously a great thing to highlight because it's like look at that, look at what we did. Right after the abolishment of slavery. Somehow the thing that we have trouble with today, which is pooling money and just succeeding off our own dollar, we just clicked somehow right after being enslaved and went to doing it. That was like remarkable. I'm like, we can do that at any time. And it's crazy because that relates to me because working with my sister and her starting her business, she has a CBD company. And she started it with 3 people she didn't know. She only knew one lady that she's working with and the other 3 she didn't. So it was like, you're going to sit here and complain about all the ideas that people project on you and say, if you work with your people, something's going to go wrong with the money.
Right.
Or you can't trust them or whatever. Or you're going to just say,
BS.
I never seen that happen, so why am I fearful of something I never even went through? And do it. So I'm learning that from her now, and I'm like, oh, that's what what I'm going towards is building that and just keeping that going. And then making it normal, like making it not even, we got to sit down and, making it intentional. Definitely need to know what you're doing, but definitely making it another thing where the ice is broken. It just starts to happen so frequently. So that's what that shirt is.
And I saw that it was pretty damn affordable too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, a lot of times, because, it feels bad to say it sometimes, but it's like a lot of the black brands that I want to support, I'm just like, I ain't really in the $100 t-shirt market for anybody. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't buying the $800 off-white hoodies, bro?
Right, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say, so it's 2 sides to that. One is manufacturing.
Absolutely.
Manufacturing is expensive.
Okay.
You're gonna eat a lot of L's while you jumping out in manufacturing. We spent $5,000 on pieces we didn't even sell. So we really gotta just trial and error. And then beyond that, it's like your value. What do you think your product's worth?
Right.
And why are you afraid to say it's $100? And that's why I learned to admire some of those brands. I'm like, that is somehow kids today, they'll buy sneakers worth that much, or a doll, a Cause doll, with just that label on a Nike or whatever. So it's like, or Gucci or Balenciaga, it's the same thing. So like the fact that we will buy that, it's like, know what you're doing, know your market. You created fashion. When you were in Black Wall Street, when you were in your country, remember that you also created fashion years back. So think about that and price it, because it's a luxury that we created as a culture. So that's what it's for. That it's for. I want to splurge on myself and really buy something that is meaningful to me.
You've been teasing the collection for the last few weeks. What's the response been so far?
Amazing. Everybody loves it. So like that I'm getting, everybody's like, oh, this is amazing. Like, thank you for doing this. People send me DMs and like, make a shirt about this, or I'm behind you on everything. Any photos you need. It's just love. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. And then, just, I don't know, I'm always into like my own zone because I'm sewing and I'm doing graphics and I'm coming up with content. So I really don't be that in the field too much. I pop out to events frequently as much as I can, but I'm just honing in till I release it. So
got you. For the young cats and up and coming designers that are listening that are not in New York or not in LA, what advice would you give them for making it and getting their stuff out there and people noticing it outside of those major hubs?
I think that LA, New York, and all those in Paris and places like that got to where they were because people said this is what we look at as fashion, and we're gonna get in this field and flourish economically. So I think that is something I keep in mind. It's like, okay, I could easily go to New York, maybe find some better manufacturing. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe I'll do it too, as well as stay in Atlanta. But noticing like, oh, Atlanta's fashion won't grow unless you grow it and create a demand for it. So you gotta start doing it. Other brands gotta start jumping in and doing it as well. So many brands in Atlanta, we're already on that track. So just maintain it and just keep moving. And I think over time, we're gonna start saying we need manufacturing. Well, you make the shirts at your house. Now we got someone who's making our clothes in Atlanta that we're gonna go to frequently, and maybe someone else that prints. Maybe somebody makes pants, and we start that little garage is gonna turn into a factory. So people have to notice that and then work on it. And then I think over time, Atlanta fashion industry is gonna be bigger, or at least up to par with New York and LA.
Yeah. I mean, there was
years.
If you said 10 years ago that would Atlanta be making hundreds of millions, if not close to billions, in film and TV, you'd be like, hell nah, ain't no way in the world. But it's there.
It happens because people say we need it. I mean, demand grows.
And it makes sense because
the municipality supports it. That's what needs to happen.
Exactly. Well. Yeah, so that's important too. Making sure that we are in other fields as well. And, like say if I got a friend that's in politics and maybe he's doing something with the mayor or anything in that range, and he's like, they ask questions in those rooms. Do kids in Atlanta enjoy fashion and music? Do we need to fund this stuff? And then if no one's in there to say, oh, kids need that,
right? And
we're going to be asked out again. So it's like we need that as well. We need people to tap in, know what we're doing, know the value of it, and say we want to own this culture, this value of this culture, not give it away. We want to hone in and say this is ours. So when fashion blows, we can say that's not fashion. Like we need that control and ownership.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of that, I'm glad you said that. One of the things I've always said, because I've been in the game for a long time, so even before I was writing about and working with companies or whatnot, I've always said that streetwear ain't nothing but black fashion without black people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
you know what? And it's like I was always wondering, like, what is this? Because I was seeing in magazines and on websites, new streetwear. I was like, what does that actually mean, bro? And now that you said it like that,
that hit me though, like probably 12, 13 years ago when I was walking down Fairfax, and I'm looking, and that was before Fairfax was Fairfax. But I'm looking to see who's in all these stores, and it's nobody that looks like us.
Yeah.
But everything they doing is based off of what we've done. And I will say, I got to give credit on the Hundreds book. I don't remember if it was Bobby or Ben shouted out, like a lot of the Carl Kanai, the brothers from Cross Colors. Yeah. You know what I mean? Maurice Malone, the whole nine. But in your opinion, like, how does that change, and where do you see this shit going, like, say, in the next 5 years?
I think streetwear is haute couture now.
Yeah.
Haute couture fashion. I think every brand knows that. Balenciaga to Louis Vuitton knows what streetwear's impact is. So I see streetwear being that leading now new design factor in the fashion world. It's like that, the fact that you can come up with this streetwear wearable, these pieces, and it still relates to the audience, and it still is it's still stylish in that realm, and it still has like a type of shock value to it. I think it's going there. So a lot of the kids like this is in Atlanta designing, and there's so many, like All Friends Welcome, and I know I can't name all, Lost and Found. Yeah. Everybody who's doing their own thing, it's like that's whatever we're doing is what people want. So that's what fashion's going there. And then shout out to Brick as well, because his brand is helping that narrative. Obviously, Off-White took it all the way there in that way, where now high fashion is like we like that, and now it's like we are the leading in in design and world and social media and everything like that. Everything looks like what we design, and if it doesn't, it's like people mimic it and it looks corny. That the fact they're trying to make it look so much like what we're doing, but I know that that's where it's headed, and I think once it gets there, like streetwear gets to that pocket of high fashion, it's gonna evolve from there, and it's gonna be something even flyer, even crazier.
It's super interesting you said that because I feel like it's cyclical, and you mentioned all of those names and all of these young cats, and it's not just here. You got it in other areas of the country that are bringing it back and taking it more grassroots. Because I remember when Vibe first came out, and one of the first issues, Tretch had the padlock and chain wearing it, and then like a few months later, I believe it was a Chanel show.
Yeah,
they had people walking the wrong way with that on. I'm like, good and fucking nowhere. But that, so it's all cyclical. I mean, mainstream always bites what we doing, but it's I wanted to hear from your perspective
we
since you're really in it. Yeah,
gotta know that we lead in it, know the value in that. Joe Freshgoods in Chicago, I like what he's doing because he's reminding kids to know their value in business conversations because he's working with Snapple, McDonald's, all types of brands, and he's coming in there like he's like, don't go in these meetings saying that you're going in there saying like whatever deal they give me, I'm honored to take it because I come from nothing. Go in there like, I know why y'all got me here. I'm influential, I'm black, I'm positive, and you want my audience. And then once that ice is broken, they're like, yeah, we want that. Yeah. And then now let's get to what I need in order to give that. And
absolutely.
To give you what you need. So it's like, know that now. And we're going with fashion, acknowledge that, and like really lead what you're designing. Like try to lead and be innovative. Yeah.
Absolutely. What's your goal, ultimate goal for the brand?
Ultimate goal right now is definitely to establish it further. It's a steady growth, so I'm still I call myself early stages, definitely early stages. So still on the way to fully establishing it when it comes to store, really making our stamp with the brand universally. But I guess to make it, I guess, digestible, like the messages I'm putting out to make them digestible. Each collection I want to evolve. Whatever message I start with, I want to end on it with it being like a tone of the conversation in the social climate, and then pushing that, and always being that voice and saying we need more of this, or I acknowledge this is happening, and just pushing that message out regardless of who wants to hear it, who doesn't. And it being received in a way where it's not, being received universally, and in a way where it influences culture, and it becomes a conversation rather than like this, something you look at for a second actually becomes like what's cool, what's normal, what starts to happen. So I want my brand to influence like positivity and let that trickle down. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Please shout out the show one more time.
Yeah, man. So shout out to LivehiphopDaily.
I'm talking about your show. Your show. I'm talking about your show, your fashion show. This Saturday. This Saturday, man. That's what we here for.
Oh, yeah. So Black American Merchant Class Fashion Show, December 7th, Annex Bookstore. What is that? 748 Marietta Street, Northwest. Yep. Right. Really down the street from Main. So yeah, come do 3 p.m. to 9, free entry. Come enjoy it.
It's gonna be popping, man. Yeah. Appreciate your time, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck with everything, man.
We'll be there.
No doubt. You'll definitely be there. We appreciate y'all listening, man. Day1Radio. Appreciate y'all watching on Live Hip Hop Daily. We'll see y'all next week with another dope show. Peace.